Hello, welcome Maureen Marsh, Hypnosis Rebalance. So, hot potato here. Should we be allowed to criticise other cultures? Oh, what am I doing with this hot potato? Put it down. Well, actually, it's not that much of a hot potato. It might appear so at the start, but actually, when you look a little bit deeper, it's not really. So I want you to start with yourself, right? I want you to think, close your eyes for a moment and think of all the ideas you've come up with. And some of them, right, have been amazing, brilliant ideas, and some of them have been stupendously stupid ideas, and some have sort of been kind of in the grey area, neither good nor bad, kind of wishy-washy ideas. I once had an idea when I was 15 to walk all the way home 5 miles in bare feet because I was a little bit pissed. I thought wasn't the best idea of my life. So I'm saying this because essentially all we have is ideas, my friends. That's all we have as a human species, is coming up with good ideas. And what do I mean by a good idea? Well, I'm going to say that there's a kind of scale. We're living in a kind of dual reality. So we're living in a reality of contrast. So on one end, you've got extreme suffering. On the other end, you've got extreme well-being. And good ideas, the litmus test is, does it move you towards well-being on the whole, or does it move you towards suffering on the whole? That's what constitutes a good idea, is the one that's obviously moving you towards well-being, right? Obviously. So let me think. An unambiguously good idea back in the 19th century was the creation and the thought and the creation of the sewage system in Victorian England. I mean, sewage system everywhere, but that specifically I'm looking at as an unambiguously good idea, right? It took us away from suffering and towards well-being. It cut down on all sorts of the typhus and all sorts of horrible diseases, not to mention all the raw sewage that was once just prevailing in the streets and in the rivers. And it did more to increase mortality rate of human beings than anything else, including antibiotics, by all accounts. So unambiguously good idea, right? Scientific good idea. So let's think of ideas within our own cultures. So we've looked at our own good and bad ideas, and then we've looked at an unambiguously good idea, and then look at other ideas in our cultures. So for me, the eating of meat is like a bad idea. It didn't used to be a cultural norm, but it is a cultural norm. It's endorsed by our culture. The meat industry, dairy industry are given money by the government. It's completely endorsed. It's in our programming now that that's what constitutes a healthy diet. Does this move us towards, is this idea one that moves us towards suffering or towards well-being? It ticks all the boxes for towards suffering. So we've got the billions of animals that are being kept in terrible conditions and slaughtered. We've got the fact that it's ecologically unsound, and now more and more evidence that it doesn't do our physiology any good. So it's lots of cancers now associated with it, heart disease. So to me, it constitutes a bad idea, but it's one that still prevails within our culture. Let's look at another unambiguously what would appear a bad idea in another culture. So female genital circumcision. I think most people in our cultures have big feelings about this, and other people might say, well, you don't understand where it's come from. But you can understand if it's an idea that moves towards suffering or moves towards well-being. Anyone can say that idea. So what I'm really saying here is not only should we be allowed to criticise bad ideas, actually whichever culture they come from, but we should be endorsing good ideas, because that's what we need, good ideas. And cultures, it's like, oh, somehow it's sacred because this culture has this idea, but cultures are moving, they're changing all the time. Our culture is, any culture is. So if you look at Egypt in 1950, it was far more progressive than the Egypt today. So that says there's changes, there's shifts. That says to me that there are more bad ideas coming in than good ideas, and likewise with ours, with sort of measures to cut benefits to the very poor, all the measures that mean that there's a lot of homelessness because the rents are so high, all sorts of things that have come in, cuts to welfare, cuts to essential care services. Are these good ideas? Do they serve us? Do they move us towards well-being or towards suffering? I leave you to consider that. So we should be endorsing good ideas, and we should be criticising bad ideas wherever they come from. And now I'm going to get on a deeper note. Where do bad ideas come from? So this is a deep one. I want you to close your eyes for this and consider what I'm saying. So why does it seem that the world is such a mess? Why does it seem like there's such a lot of anger and chaos out there? And I'm not saying there's not a lot of good stuff, because there sure as hell is. There's sure as hell a lot of beautiful people out there and beautiful things. But we know, we can see, where does that come from? I would say there are two programs running. I call them programs, you might call them conditioning. As a hypnotherapist, I say they're programs running that seem to be universally part of the human condition. And one of them is called I'm not good enough, and the other one is called I'm not lovable. It's those two programs. I'm not good enough, I'm not lovable. And I would suggest that all bad ideas spring from those, right, and are endorsed because of those. So if you don't think you're good enough, if you don't think you're lovable, you're going to have an agenda which is all about trying to prove to yourself and everyone that you are lovable, that you are good enough, and it will make you very easy to manipulate. And this has been the cause of a lot of suffering with human beings, and the reason why religious bodies have been able to manipulate you, politicians have been able to manipulate you, teachers have been able to manipulate you, because you have those programs running and you're looking for relief from it. So I would say that all advertising, so before it was religion that was running us, then it was politicians that were running us, and now it seems to be advertising running us, telling us how we can be better, improve ourselves, because somehow we're encouraged to believe we're broken. You are not broken. Brothers, sisters, you are not broken, but you need to be alert to where those programs are running your particular show. Once we can get those programs in some sort of check, it opens up the world, Once you realise you are not your programs, you are not just this little set of programs running, that you are life flowing, and the sooner you can get in the flow of your own life and come up with some good ideas. Good ideas come from when you're in the flow, when you're not being sabotaged by those two fundamental programs, which I would say most human beings have got running. So look at where it is true for you, and it also gives you open eyes to what constitutes a good idea, what constitutes a bad idea within yourself, and within your community, and within your culture, and within other cultures, and within other communities. Yeah. So what I'm saying to you is, yes, we should be criticising bad ideas wherever they come from, whether it's our culture, another culture, wherever bad ideas are, we should be criticising. Well, I think it's a good idea to start endorsing good ideas, ideas that move us towards greater well-being, greater connection with each other, more love. That's what we need. I don't think you're going to argue with me on that, are you? No, I don't think so. So I hope you enjoyed this blog, and if you did, please share, please subscribe, pass it on. Love and peace, love and peace, love and peace. Thank you.